What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Cosmic Wonder. Today we have some insanely huge leaks for Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, and these leaks are coming from somebody at Marvel. We also have some pretty big leaks from some insiders as well, but the ones that are coming from the writer over at Marvel are crazy. And I actually think one of the details that he lists here when he talks about them point to a Doom Supreme, and I'll definitely explain what I mean in this video. So these leaks are coming from X-Men writer Chris Claremont. Chris Claremont has wrote many amazing X-Men stories, and he has consulted on many different Marvel movies as well. And he recently appeared at a comic book convention, the Huntsville Pop Culture Expo, and he started talking a little bit about Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. And he mentioned several different things about Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, and people are kind of freaking out about what he said because he did drop some bombs. Some we've already speculated about, but again, it's very different coming from a writer at Marvel who constantly consults for movies. And keep in mind, they are filming X-Men scenes for Avengers Doomsday right now, and we know that Doomsday and Secret Wars are going to very heavily feature the X-Men in both movies, so it makes sense that they would have consulted with him already, and he knows a decent amount about some plot points of the film. But the first thing he mentioned is that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be playing multiple characters in the movie, including Iron Man. So Robert Downey Jr. is returning not only as Doctor Doom, but he will be playing a variant of Iron Man as well. Something that we long expected and something that insiders have been talking about, and simply makes sense. If you're going to have Robert Downey Jr. return as the villain in a huge multiversal film or films, it would make sense that you would have the actor who is an icon and made a character an icon, Iron Man, return as that iconic character in some way, shape, or form. So this is really just kind of a smart move by Marvel Studios. And they really do need to make full use of the multiverse saga while we're still in it, because we know we're kind of moving away from the multiverse after Avengers Secret Wars. It's going to focus on the main universe that will now have all the different teams and characters a part of it. The X-Men, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, etc. So they really do need to do this. And I have thoughts about what this specifically could be used for in the films. And I believe it could be because we are going to see multiple versions of Doom as well. In fact, I think we might kind of get a multiversal Masters of Evil where Doom Supreme leads them all. We've already heard that Doctor Doom is going to have his own team in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. And yes, this team is going to consist of other variants of characters that we have known and loved over the last decade, and then some. And in fact, one of the reports that is coming from Chris Claremont here is that Chris Evans is going to return not just as Captain America, but also a young Steve Rogers as Hydra Cap. And Hydra Cap might be a part of Doom's team, but I also do believe that other variants of Doom are going to be a part of his plan as well. And that could be what Chris Claremont is referring to here when he says Robert Downey Jr. is going to play multiple characters in the movie. We know he's going to play Doom, and of course we know he's going to play Tony Stark, at least a variant of Tony Stark, but I do believe he'll play more than one Doom. And even though I think there is going to be kind of a Doom Supreme, the main Doom of Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, I don't think it's going to follow the same story that it follows in the comics. But I do think that they will take from it. For one, it would be really cool to see Doctor Doom as a Sorcerer Supreme of a different universe than ours. I think this would actually add some depth to the character, especially when it comes to interacting with our Doctor Strange and our Wong. Because we've heard that Doctor Doom isn't necessarily going to think of himself as evil, of course, or as the villain, but he simply wants to save the multiverse, and in the end, he's probably going to want to save it in ways that our Avengers don't agree with. Or, and this is what I think is going to happen, eventually he's going to say we can't save the multiverse, or the multiverse left alone is just pure chaos and is destined to be destroyed. It needs to be ruled by somebody, and that person is him. And this would kind of follow the Kang story as well, because it's essentially what He Who Remains did. So if they want to still try to tie all the previous stories in with our new villain, Doctor Doom, that's a pretty good way to do it. But essentially what I believe is going to happen is that Doctor Doom will have a team. He will be the Supreme Doom, and the people who follow him will be other Dooms, other variants of characters we know, like Hydra Cap. And I do think Dooms might actually fight each other, but ultimately there will only be one who is the main villain, and that will be Doom Supreme. And I also feel like if he is going to be the big bad and they want to demonstrate that he's more powerful than Thanos and more powerful than Kang, then he kind of does need to be insanely powerful. So the fact that that he could be a sorcerer supreme from his universe would make a lot of sense. So it sounds like Doom is kind of going to have his own team / own army, but he is going to be the Doom Supreme of it all. So the next thing he mentioned was what we already talked about. Chris Evans will be back as Captain America. And this makes sense. Robert Downey Jr. is returning. He's going to play Doom and a variant of Iron Man. So Chris Evans is going to be returning as Captain America as well, and Hydra Cap. So both actors are returning to play somewhat of the same character, variants of the same characters, but also evil versions of the characters as well. Then he says that Elizabeth Olsen is going to return as a good Scarlet Witch. There's a lot of talk about whether the Scarlet Witch will kind of align herself with Doom or our Avengers team. Well, if what Chris Claremont is saying is true, she's going to return and she's going to be good, which would give her a redemption arc, something that a lot of people have been wanting after Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And remember, Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, did hint that she is actually alive. He said that if you take a look at the scene where the mountain is crumbling on top of her, you can see a red light flash, implying that she is still alive, and that red light was her escaping, her using her chaos magic, which is red, to escape. Now, we have heard that she might be a part of Doom's team for at least a little bit, and remember, Doom is supposedly going to be viewed as good originally, because what he is setting out to do is indeed save the multiverse. And this is what happens in Avengers Secret Wars, and what leads up to Avengers Secret Wars, the story Time Runs Out. Doom, with Molecule Man, is trying to save the entire multiverse. Ultimately, he can't, and he decides to save something, and he creates Battleworld where he rules over it, and that is how he becomes the villain. So we might see a lot of these characters that we know and love align themselves with Doom, at least in the beginning, thinking that he might be their only option to save the multiverse. But once he reveals his true side and his true intentions, that's when all of the main people, all of the main characters that we've known over time will eventually turn on him. I do think some people are going to stay with him, but I think those people are most likely going to be variants. And I think the Scarlet Witch will be one of those people who might be kind of with him in the beginning, but then turn on him once she realizes what he is actually trying to do, which I believe is going to be rule over the entire multiverse, or one universe, the only thing left, himself. And last but not least, he said that we can expect Psylock to return. I'm not sure if this is Olivia Munn's Psylock or a new Psylock, but he says Psylock is going to return, and he states that Wolverine is going to kill somebody important. Now that's pretty vague, and that's kind of a hard guess as to who he would kill. You also have to kind of interpret what important actually means. Are they important to the actual story that we're going to be seeing in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, or are they just important in Marvel history? Are they a very popular character that has been around for a very long time? Could he kill an X-Men? Could he kill an Avenger? Could he kill somebody like Shuri's Black Panther, perhaps? Kind of an adamantium versus vibranium type of thing? We literally have no idea, but the story from Deadpool and Wolverine might tie in a little bit as to what's going to happen in Doomsday or Secret Wars, because Wolverine got his entire X-Men team killed, essentially. That's the big guilt that was hanging over him. So due to the fact that that happened, I'm assuming Wolverine wouldn't kill anybody good or kill a good X-Men character. So I think our best bet here is that he kills a variant of a character who was working with Doctor Doom. Because again, if we consider everything that happened in Deadpool and Wolverine, it wouldn't really make sense for him to kill a good person unless somebody put him under some type of a spell or trance, in which Doctor Doom, if he does know sorcery, which he should, or if he is the sorcerer supreme from where he comes from, he could definitely do that. He could kind of create a berserker Wolverine to attack his own. But as far as who he could possibly kill, well, who knows? Go ahead and let us know who you think Wolverine might kill in the comments down below. And of course, let us know what you think about the rest of this news. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest MCU news, rumors, or leaks. You can also find us on other social media platforms as well. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.